Join us for a review of the new Peugeot 508 SE, the sportiest Peugeot yet. Let's find out. Let's go. In the front here we can see the 508 in general has a sporty design, strong front, the SE, and I just call it SE. I don't want to say always like Peugeot Sport Engineered, just too long, but you know what I mean. Here different front grille design right there, and the front grille leads over to the headlamp unit right here, daytime running light. That's actually quite normal. Full LED headlamps here in the higher trim. What's new? Here, got a different lower bumper, and then the kryptonite inserts here. They call this color kryptonite. It's a mix of green and yellow, and that's the scheme here for this sport model. 4.75 meters, 15'6" or 187 inches is the length of this generation 508. This here, the sedan or the fastback or limousine, however you want to call it, it has a fastback opening. This one here, but also available as the SW, the estate version. Then 20-inch wheels, automatic comes with that. Of course, huge style. Will reduce the comfort a little bit, but also will give you a little bit more connection to the road. By the way, this one being a prototype model, there might be some nuance changes for the very, very final model, but it's almost final. You can see here the tail lamp design, also again with the stripes, and then the lower part is really changed from the normal 508, here with a strong diffuser, real exhaust tip, no job for the Autogrill fake exhaust released, and then the very sporty side spoilers here, and again with these kryptonite inserts. So this is a rather aggressive design definitely, and the big technology change is that the 508 plug-in hybrid so far, so this will only come here as the Phev. So far, only electric motor in the front. This one here, the Sport Engineered model, will also have an additional electric motor at the rear. An overall total system output of 360 horsepower. And where do these 360 horsepower come from? So the most powerful series production Peugeot yet. Here in front, combustion engine 1.6 liter. Turbocharged, and then you have one electric motor in the front plus additional electric motor in the rear. The same hardware is also used in the DS7 Crossback, for example, or in the Peugeot 3008, just that here the rear electric motor gets a different horsepower tune in the rear and also a different gear ratio in the rear, so it can also drive with the electric motor activated in the rear up to a speed of 190 kilometers an hour. Not only electric, so when it's running at 190 kilometers an hour still, the front ICE would also be active. The pure electric speed is not yet determined at the time we shoot this video. With the other models by PSA, it's usually about 135 kilometers max, but has yet to be seen what they decide for this vehicle. An acceleration figure to 100 kilometers an hour, 5.2 seconds. That's 3 seconds faster than the plug-in hybrid version here for the 508 with just the front ICE plus the front electric motor. So 3 seconds faster here with the additional rear electric motor. Battery is 13 kilowatt hours capacity, and you charge it AC 3.7 or optional 7.4 kilowatt right here. And this will then give you a pure electric range of up to 40 kilometers, realistically a little bit less. And yes, that's even a little bit less than just the front Phev, I call it that way, because here with additional power on the rear, it's a little bit less efficient definitely. But I guess when you have the additional power, you can somewhat also live with that. With 1.86 or 6'1", you still fit in here very well, no problem. There is a panoramic roof built in here, so that leaves some headroom, more headroom when you leave it out. This would be one of the rare options here with the panoramic roof. Interior overview with this unique styling, soft touch dashboard, kryptonite contrast stitch, and again a white wood decor element here. Yeah, this matte wood is also just always beautiful. And still it works in a sporty car, so why not? Then 10-inch display right here and 12.3-inch instruments, always this setup here. So at least you do have hotkeys here, for example, to access vehicle controls, or then the CarPlay right here with the integration in the middle, or then back to the climate unit. That's actually quite okay, but still controlling that while driving is hard. When you're just someone that sets 22 degrees Celsius and auto AC, you probably won't care. But for me, for example, I like to change things around with the AC depending on my condition. Yeah, then I change the AC, the air condition. Yeah, it depends on really. Doing that while driving is not too easy, but at least you can fastly access this menu. And GPS looks like this. It is usable, not the best one. As for the visualization, it could also be a little bit faster. And there's always this 3-finger trick where you hop back to this hidden main menu. Fancy. And the digital instruments right here. You have the visualization for what's happening, ICE or electric motors in the middle part. But you can also change the view, what you want to see. Like this, for example. It always takes a while until it's changed. So let's get to the rear compartment, and you have the same styling here on the interior, also soft touch materials inside of the doors, and again the matte wood. The red kryptonite contrast stitching, and very interesting detail here next to these 3 stripes here once again, especially for the SE. Here you also have this carbon fiber style insert, very nice, and then the same microfiber setup here for the rear seats. It's microfiber fabric leatherette mix. So this once again a very nice styling element also for the rear seats. But the question is, how much legroom do I have? Of course, this is not special here for the sport engineered version. And there's a recess here at the back part of the seat. You can use it even better when you put the seat a little bit more up, and also with my feet here underneath. So when the seat in the lowest position, then it's somewhat a problem. It would be, move it a little bit more up, then I do fit better here with with the legs inside. But the back part here of the seat is also reasonably soft. 490 to 1,550 liters is the official one for the sedan here, which has this fastback opening. So you have a good compromise between, a little bit lost in height if you compare it to the Estate, to the SW model. But overall, very well accessible, definitely, with this fastback opening, but still have the nice design. Below here, you have the charging cable, for example, stored, very nicely done. And when I put in my backpack inside here, it's just that here the Estate would have an advantage, definitely. But you have to, just push the backpack a little bit more inside. And you do not have to go around. You could also do it from here then to flip these seats here And of course, either with the ski edge in the middle or then the 2/3, 1/3 split. Welcome to Thomas's Active Driving Lounge with the new Peugeot 508 SE here in this prototype vehicle, and we have set it to the sports mode, maximum performance. 5.2 seconds would be the acceleration figure to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. And they told me actually you don't need any preload, any launch control, because there's electric motor and the clutch is closed. When you're in the sport mode, there should be the direct power output. And also the ICE doesn't need any preload, so let's just test it. Let's hit the throttle and see on this test track straight. Let's go. So that's 200. Yeah, I think it was quite nice, and you just experienced the acceleration for the fastest ever produced series production Peugeot. Interesting. Here now some left and right. Suspension is stiffer, so we have more feedback from the road. It's not that it feels like a stiff sports car. Here now rough road, but still quite okay, so they found a rather comfortable setup here, I would say. You know, very rough road, but still not too uncomfortable, but definitely a little bit more feedback than the normal hybrid version. Nice on the handling. The steering is fun and unique. You have this iCockpit feeling with the small steering wheel, therefore it's really a lot of fun to put that car also in the slalom. However, you know, the natural feedback is not the best. It rather feels like arcade computer game alike. So it doesn't give you like a very natural feedback like we know from some other brands, but definitely fun and unique. And yes, it is direct, even though when it's not natural. So what if we are already at speed? Let's do, for example, see here, like 70 kilometers and then like 130 or something. Let's see how that reacts. Pop, that's it. So even this so-called flexibility, quite nice. So actually nice performance, and the engine doesn't sound too bad, but you don't have like a roaring sound. That's not the aim of this vehicle. So definitely more power than we had before, more than enough power. And the difference about 3 seconds then to the normal 508 hybrid. So here once again a little bit more slalom at about 80 kilometers an hour, and have a good feeling of the car indeed. So you feel somewhat that it's still front wheel biased. So when I really hit the throttle, it's about like 60-40, 60% torque in the front, 40% at the rear. And the faster we go, the more it will switch to front wheel bias. However, the rear electric engine will still run at the speed of 190 kilometers an hour, and it will still work. Not alone, but together then with the whole drivetrain unit, and that's also special with this SE version here. Noise insulation, by the way, here 160 kilometers an hour, still good. So I think noise insulation wise, it's really nice. Also when you do lane change here at higher speeds, still good and stable. And once again, this test track here is quite rough, and considering the time is old and rough, the car is still doing well, and they have a good control of the car, definitely. Yes, the smaller 308, for example, GTI, this one feels sporty as for the agility, left and right and so on. This one here definitely the king of going straight, having the power on the motorway. Yet again, having the plug-in hybrid drivetrain where you can save some tax money, for example, and also, you know, still able to drive it in a more economic way if you don't throw it out all the time. This would be the good thing, that when you're on a motorway like this here, then you can have some decent acceleration at any time for overtaking maneuvers and so on. But yet again, when you rather take it slowly and drive it more efficient, that's also possible, so it won't be that much less efficient than just the front electric motor. Yes, of course, when you have another motor, this will go on efficiency a little bit, so the pure electric driving range is 40 instead of 50 kilometers official. You do lose some, but you still will be able to drive it more or less economic. And now to our conclusion for today with the Peugeot 508 SE. So it will be available here as a sedan, but also as the estate version, as the SW. And we can see the exterior styling. It was already sporty in the normal 508, both for sedan and the estate. But here in the SE trim, I mean, it fits very well to the car, you know. It already looked sporty, now even sportier with these accentuations and the interesting kryptonite color design scheme. Why not? It's definitely something different. So design-wise on the exterior, I think very well done. Fits also with these 20-inch wheels. Interior-wise, same counts for that. It already had a unique styling. Here, you know, some changes here and there. So it's not that it would be a completely different vehicle, just some nuances. Acceleration-wise, there's a huge difference when the car is suddenly 3 seconds faster in the acceleration. Of course, just with the front engine before. However, in the corporation, you might remember that from the 3008 or from the DS7, they had the technology with the additional rear motor, with the additional rear electric motor, so they just, you know, could just take it over here for the 508. And this will indeed make a huge difference in the acceleration. Driving performance then is definitely a little bit sportier with the 20-inch wheels and also the stiffer suspension setup. Again, it does not feel like a completely different vehicle because they still kept a compromise between comfort and sportiness. So this will be rather a more comfortable, sporty vehicle. And that's also the, you know, this market niche where it's also not only due to the hybrid drivetrain, it's a little bit different than a 343 or a M340i or then an Audi S4 and so on. So really a different approach, and also the thought behind, okay, sometimes you want to maybe overtake on the motorway and a little bit faster, have this great punch, but also at the same time use it as for tax benefits with the plug-in hybrid, or then also drive in a more economical way in everyday driving life, or maybe use the just pure electric driving. And that was also a lot of fun. Of course, the sport mode gave you the most power, but then again, when you're driving in the just pure electric mode, you have pulling from the front, pushing from the rear, and the all-electric driving really suits the vehicle very well. Of course, pure electric range is not as high as, you know, with a bigger battery or something, but for a plug-in hybrid vehicle, this is, so to speak, the standard value what they put in as for the battery and as for the electric range. So, a very interesting approach here. Peugeot going sportier, the strongest Peugeot from series production so far. Of course, we want to know, what do you think about this vehicle? Again, I found the car very interesting before. It has a very unique market position, especially also with this design. However, then here also with the SE trim, it will get quite expensive. And of course, you have to think about it, you know, what else you could get for that price. But definitely a new choice on the market. So join us in the comments, see you in the discussion there, or tune in to the normal 508 review. We have a couple of these, or maybe to the competitor vehicles. We have the reviews all linked for you. See you there.